this is a live record with witness Dan. Do you want to use your second name?
No, no, just leave it at Dan for
Okay, well,
now.
just read that down. This is a Basis 54. I've designated it as TI, and Dan, you can say why it isn't TI.
Why? I don't
You're
know.
empowered. You
Well,
mentioned.
I'll be honest. You say that, didn't you? It's just a better way of looking at it. It's like you call yourself. I mean, at first, I started calling myself a targeted individual because you see it all on the internet, and everyone's saying you're part of a CIA government, like a government program, and all this sort of stuff. So, but it's like when you really sit down and look at it, it's like all these government agents or demons or whatever they bloody are. They, there's gangs of them and one of me. So they're scared of me.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? And it's like, why? I don't know. Well, I now think that. I mean, I know this, but it's like I recently had what I believe to be contact with Pleiadians, and just before that, I have started coming into contact with reptilians.
Okay. Now, this is very important. So let's. The whole climate of what aliens are and really what this is really all about has changed a great deal in recent years. They're not from out there; they're from in
They're
there.
here. Yeah, they're here. It's interdimensional as far as
Yeah,
I'm aware.
you've already stepped about 25,000 years of the outside the UFO community. You still can't handle most of this.
Well, this is the thing. It's like I talk to people. I know two people that have had these experiences, and they'll talk about it like a very small amount. They talk about it, but most of the time it's like I want to talk about it, and they won't. And everyone else who I talk to about
Well,
it thinks,
my advice to you on that is, if they can't handle it, don't bother.
yeah. Well, this is the thing. I'm kind of getting to this stage because it's like I've been sectioned by my mother. My mother had me sectioned for talking about reptilians and me thinking the Earth's flat. And I got taken into the section in place, the mental health hospital. I got taken there illegally because it was the mental. It was a psychiatrist or whatever the geezer was who come round the house. He detained me and the police were standing there. They called the police to take me away, even though I hadn't committed a crime. I have no history of anything, no violence or nothing like that. And they basically brought the police around. Now, if I was being arrested, the police should have been the ones to detain me.
Well,
But
no.
the
What
psychiatrist,
happens is, if there's a civil, the police are simply there to maintain
the peace.
the peace. Yeah, that's right. You're already well ahead. That's all good
Mm.
stuff. Yeah, I mean, the police are basically there to. I mean, when I did pirate radio, the police would turn up to basically make sure that the civil enforcement officer from the Department of Communications, or Ofcom, or whatever they call themselves, weren't beaten up. In other words, their orders were carried out, things were
Yeah.
happy, and that's it. That's really what it's about.
Mm.
And ultimately, that's what the police are there for. They're there to maintain the peace. So
Yeah.
if you break any kind of thing, the peace, that's a fundamental reason why the coppers were created by the peelers or whatever.
Yeah. Protect and serve, isn't it? That's what they're
Well,
there for,
it's,
supposedly.
yeah, they're not there for us. They're there to maintain the peace.
Yeah.
And
But
that's their
yeah.
job. And it's not, let's not criticize them. That's their job. That's there. And provided we have a peaceful society, everybody's happy.
Mm.
But could you give a background? Yeah, the first thing about being sectioned is you've just triggered a number of immediate phrases within MK Ultra and the Mental Health Act, which immediately will get you sectioned. They read that, he's mentioned this, he's mentioned
I think
that.
there's a serious problem in society when you are not allowed to state a belief about the Earth being flat or the fact that alien life might exist. If you get taken away, if mental health professionals come around your house and then also ring the police to take you away for simply stating a belief, I think there is a major problem in society.
Well, that's the point. It's built like that. They've enshrined that in the Mental Health Act. And
Yeah.
I think if you now say that you can telepath and do other
No,
certain
I
things, then that'll get you locked up as well.
well,
It's
yeah,
written. It's
yeah, I
written
get what you
in
mean.
the.
Yeah,
It's
it's
written.
designed like this. They want people.
Yes.
They want people that are aware or awake or whatever you want to call it. They, yeah, I got. I've got an helicopter outside now. See, this is another thing I've got on my YouTube channel. I've had I don't know if it was military or what it was, a helicopter nigh on land on the house. Yeah, it was so low. And it's like by the time I got my camcorder and like I'm hanging out the window trying to look, yeah, and I had the bloody cap on me my camcorder, but it's clear as day. And if you look on my YouTube channel, I can't remember what it's uploaded as, but it's got a helicopter in the title.
Okay,
And it's like
what is your YouTube channel? Forgive me
my
for
YouTube
interrupting
channel.
you all the time, but
No, that's
I'm
all
just
right.
trying to let
Yeah.
other people know the context that if you say you are saying these things in the Mental Health Act, if you go to Nina Valentine's material, her father, Nina Valentine, is part of the Super Soldier set. We interviewed her. She knew Max and some of the other people, but her father, grandfather, installed the MK Ultra programming into the health service. And as part of
Yeah, it
that,
wouldn't surprise me.
if you mention what you've just been saying, it's written in the notebook. You say the following things, immediately you get sectioned. There's a number of reasons
Yeah.
why they're doing that.
Yeah, it's because they don't want people aware of the reptilians. That's what it comes down to. They don't want people aware of the reptilian control because it's them fuckers that need to be got rid of.
Well, you've
I mean,
in our
maybe I'm
preamble,
wrong,
yeah, in our
but as far as
preamble,
I'm concerned at the
you-
moment, yeah, I ain't had a good experience with one of them.
well, I have to say, I have to share that in some regard, but I'm not going to give my other issues.
No, yeah, I get you.
Okay, so
But yeah, I didn't know
Dan,
that was written into the Mental Health Act.
yeah,
But
it is.
it wouldn't
So
surprise me at all.
what you just done, you don't do, and you also don't mention it as a belief. That's a trap word. It means you're a fucking nutcase, right?
Yeah.
So you don't say things like that. You say, I may have conclusions about this in a rational kind of way, but I don't believe it. Don't ever believe any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Don't say you believe
Yeah, I
it.
get what you mean, yeah.
Because that's the trick word. The BBC or somebody will say, do you believe in aliens? And immediately, hello, you are a complete nutcase. And if you believe in aliens,
Mate,
you're just not a
I
rational
learned this
person.
the hard way. Yeah, I learned this the hard way. I'm walking around thinking I'm like half intelligent, and it turns out I'm a bit of a retard. But you
You
know,
are very intelligent and you are very
you
smart.
learn.
And
Well,
you've already
yeah, I
said,
told myself this. You
good.
have to, didn't you? You know.
Okay, I'm going to do a thing called shut up. Explain
Okay.
why you've come here and what do you want to say, and give some background as to why people should listen to a word you're saying.
Okay. To be honest with you, Miles, I've listened to hours and hours of the Basis Project, and I've listened to like Max and is it Sarah Adams, his girlfriend, and
Yeah.
Kerry Cassidy and Rosemary Guiley or
Yeah, I think,
Guiley.
yeah, she did some.
Yeah,
In the
I've
West,
listened.
we are severely impeded in our culture that we are not told so much stuff,
Well, he's
which other
basically,
cultures know about
I
intrinsically.
wanted to talk to you because you seem to know a lot of stuff. You seem to be like a lot more advanced than. I mean, some of the stuff you've spoken about, it's like, you know, I don't think you're crazy, obviously, but it's like I listen to some of it and I think, fucking hell, that's far out. Do you know what I mean? Like when you talk about scuttlers and things like this, yeah, it's like I've never seen them, but I take your word for it. You know, I just basically want someone to talk to about all this stuff because I have had contact with Pleiadians, as far as I'm aware. Whether that I don't even know where to begin with that.
Oh, well,
But
begin at the start. Just chat away.
Well, I mean, I first had like contact with reptilians. Yeah, it's like I'm standing there in the street having a conversation with a woman, and her eyes start going into slits, her teeth go into points, and as soon as I started seeing that, she became aware that I could see it, and she couldn't get away quick enough. I've also had, like, I won't go into this one at the moment, but I've also had contact with someone else who I'm pretty sure was like a high up. Well, I don't know how to describe it. He seemed to be like big on black magic, like, and he was, I don't know. This is one for another time. But yeah, I've had like these reptilian experiences. I lived in a
Okay,
house where
just relax. I mean, what happened
okay,
with the first experience? I mean, was what happened when you started to see things change?
when I see things, well, it's not just before I had the conversation with the woman in the street about like, what I was actually talking to her about. This was on the steps of a church in Doncaster, right? And I was going into the church to speak to a priest, vicar, or whatever you want to call him, about the Bible changes because I at that time become aware of the Mandela effect, right? And I've been seeing loads of changes in reality, and
This is
people were saying that
this is very important, guys.
yeah, people were saying that the Bible's changed. Right now, I'd never read the Bible. Yeah, I've always believed in. But let's just call it. I call it God. Yeah, we call it the universe, oneness, connectedness, we unity, whatever. Yeah, I call it God. Right, and I've always kind of like known. Right, but and I've never read the Bible. Now, people were saying it's changed from Isaiah. I think it's Isaiah 11:6 has changed from the lion will lay with the lamb to the wolf will lay with the lamb. So I've gone and got a Bible, I've looked at it, and it has changed. And I've gone to the church to speak to a priest about
Now,
it,
a
or
little
the
bit of a
vicar or
problem
whatever,
there. You said you hadn't read the Bible, so why would you know that there had been differences in that?
because it's one of them things that I've heard all my life. The lion will lay with the lamb. Yeah, and I've always known it. I've always known it, but it's now saying the wolf. And when you actually look into it, there's still residual evidence of the lion laying with the lamb. Yeah, and obviously, yeah, you're right. I can't say that I know 100% because I haven't read it, but it's one of these things. It's like you grow up hearing it all your life. You know, the lion will lay with the lamb, or the lion shall lay with the lamb, or
What
whatever.
about the Lord's
And
Prayer?
the Lord's Prayer, yeah, there was something changed about that, but I've always known it to be our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. It was, I think it's lead us not into temptation. No, something, what was it? Forgive us our debts,
Yeah,
they said
that's
it
it.
changed to. That's the one. Yeah. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it never said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was always the way I've just said it. But because of this lion and the lamb thing, it wasn't just that. I've seen lots of other Mandela effects as well.
Okay,
But
what have you
there's
seen?
two. Do you know one that I noticed personally was do you know the song by Cutting Crew? I just died in your arms. Rock, I just died in your arms tonight. I won't sing it, but
Yeah.
that it used to say rock, I just died in your arms tonight. Yeah, and now it just goes, oh, I just died in your arms tonight. Yeah, so that's changed. Yeah, and I know it said rock because there's a guy called Jay-Z who, like 10 years ago, I used to listen to some of his songs, and his record label is Rockefeller, and he covered that Cutting Crew song because of Rockefeller, and it used to, the remix or the remake that he done of it used to go rock. I just died in your arms tonight. So it's like there's another version of that song that is the way it was originally, but now it's changed. You know, and it's like I saw something else in England. Like I used to watch a darts program when I was a kid called Bullseye, and the at the beginning it had a it's like an animated ball, like you know, like a male cow, and I remember it always having a nose ring, and I looked it up, and now it doesn't. Yeah, but and this is what I'm saying. And there's loads of things like this. Not just ones that I've noticed. I've noticed a few myself, but other things that other people talk about. The amount of things they talk about that, as far as I'm concerned, have changed. It's unreal. You know, it's like there's I can't. As far as I'm concerned, we are creating a Mandela effect. I don't think it's CERN. If I'm
That's
wrong, I'm
that's
wrong.
called reality management, and that's very important because it's basically what the whole thing's about. They are gating our consciousness to create a different reality, and we are being farmed to do that.
Mm,
But I don't want to
mm,
say that, and you probably didn't hear me say that. But that's how it's done. That's what it's basically all about. The ETs or the extra-dimensionals are using us to create a reality, thus the flat Earth, which is a matrix grid, and thus things change.
That's because we have, like David Icke says, intentionality.
Yes, we perceive
have,
it's the split beam effect with you when we consciously cognitize things. So it's these creatures get us to manufacture a reality they control using us.
Yeah.
Which means we can delete them out of the situation.
Yeah, but the only way we're going to do this is to get enough people aware of them, because well,
there's two ways about that.
Privileged position of being secret. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
There's two ways about that, because the more people who are aware of it, the more they can gate our power to create what they want us to do. But if we reflect their intention back on them, we can actually delete them from existence in the first place. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you mean, but I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I'm still at the point where I'm trying to work out what's going on. I got, on the one hand, I've been getting gang stalking, street theatre, and I've got the Mandela effect happening, like things changing in reality. And then on top of that, every single person I speak to thinks I'm, even though I can sit there and explain what I'm talking about. It's like if I have a conversation with someone about the Earth being flat, right? Maybe it's not. I don't know what it is, right? But what I'm saying is, I don't think we're on a spinning ball, right? And I can back up what I'm saying, even if I'm wrong. It's like someone will say to you, you're fucking mad. You're mentally ill thinking the Earth's flat or something like that. And it's like, well, I'm not, because I have a very simple thing. It's like if the Earth's spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, how does a plane land on a moving runway? Logically, it can't, because it would collide, explode.
No, it doesn't work like that. That's when you get stupid.
I don't know.
No, the Earth's spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, but it took off with the Earth spinning at 1,000 miles an hour in the first place, so it's still spinning at 1,000 miles an hour plus its relative velocity. That's when you get stupid. That's not a good example.
Well, this is the thing is, Miles. There's like
the Earth. I mean, when the plane takes off, it's sitting on a runway, so it's spinning at 1,000 miles already.
Yeah.
It's not static. It's sitting on an already spinning surface. So when it takes off, it's already been spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. All it does is change its speed by running its engines, and then it's landing again. It's still spinning at 1,000 miles an hour with the plane, with the surface. The difference is it's flying over it because it's got its engine.
It's moving in the atmosphere?
Yeah. Well,
see, I can't get my head around that.
Well, we're moving. We're all moving. All of us are spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, and the planet's going through space at 25 billion, whatever. It's called relative velocity.
I'm not buying this, because it's
you are not sitting still right now. You are on a spinning globe or whatever we're on at 1,000 miles an hour.
No, see, I don't think that. I mean, if you think that, fair enough.
Well, 10,000 miles an hour, 50 million miles an hour.
Well, they tell us it's 1,000 miles an hour that we're spinning, it's
it doesn't make any difference whether you're using a matrix flat Earth model or a.
No, this is the point. This is the point. It doesn't matter, what it is, right? Because the main problem that we have right now, as far as I'm concerned, is reptilian.
I mean, if you got two trains on two tracks and they're both doing 125 mile an hour to London, and they're both traveling at the same speed, they both look stationary. Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that argument doesn't work. It's stupid. That's what gets you locked up, because you're being silly.
No, but you don't believe the flat Earth?
No, I don't believe anything. I don't use the word believe.
No, I get what you're saying.
You've got to be careful how you perceive things, because there are errors in the matrix. And the errors in the matrix and curvatures and stuff like that. Listen, I don't want to I'm opposing my observations on you. This is about your observations. But I have to say that if
water's always flat on the surface.
It's not always flat. It's not always flat. It always
finds its level, doesn't it?
It ain't. It is not level. If you get on two ferries and leave a port at the same time, and one ferry slowly gets away, you can see quite clearly, very clearly, that you've got a curved surface. But you have to get on the second. You got two ferries, and one ferry slowly goes down below. Every time you leave a port, Dublin, whatever you're leaving, and two ferries go away at the same time, you can see that curvature. But that doesn't mean you don't have matrix sections. Again, I'm imposing my observations on you. But
Yeah, no, I get you. But yeah, the flat Earth. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, right?
no, it's no.
Oh,
Don't.
hands up, but-
You're neither wrong nor right. You're observing something,
You're right,
and
yeah.
it's very important.
Yeah.
So this
But
is
amount
very
of-
important. You're finding
The
problems.
amount of things that. Say that again, sorry.
You are observing things. That's very important. You're noticing errors. But when you don't have enough information, you don't want to make too many early conclusions. It will lead you up a blind alley. So take those observations, observe them, note them. For instance, the thing in the Bible, note the errors.
What? So
And take care.
Can you explain to me the Mandela effect from your thinking?
Well, anything to do with reality management is a serious situation. And I've explained that. I'm just trying to work things out here. I'm trying to get your name up. And I don't know what my name... let's see where that is. Okay. So the thing is... if we are... Have you heard of a thing called the split beam effect? Two electrons going through a slit.
No, I haven't heard of it, but yeah, go on.
Okay, well that's
the double slit experiment.
the double slit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the thing about that is that it's a fundamental issue with perception. The whole point about that is that we perceive things, and okay, I've got your name up finally. Witness Dan, you are on basis 54. You are perceiving the whole point of this experiment with the electron is using interference two slits, right? The point about this is that the science that we're talking about, and we have to restrict ourselves with what the experiment is set up about. Either an electron is a wave or it's a particle, according to science, right? So that's why they set the experiment up in the first place. So the point about this is you then have it can either be a wave or a particle. So when it moves from one part of one electron goes through the split, and it arrives at the other end. The observer makes it into a wave, I think.
The conscious observer collapses the wave function.
Yeah, the whole point.
It's a particle when it's observed, and it's a wave when it's not.
It's something like that. The whole point of this is that it can't exist in both states until it's observed. The other one is Schrodinger's cat. Is Schrodinger's cat in the box alive or dead? Now, when you observe the box by opening it up, you either have a dead cat or a living cat.
Yeah.
But philosophy or science will debate: was it alive before you did it, or was it alive after? And that's when they all get long beards and talk a lot, right?
Yeah.
So this is a fundamental little thinking problem to determine really what's reality and what isn't reality. And then we have a thing called consensus reality. What you're suffering from, and you get locked up, is that you're breaking the consensus of the reality, which is why...
It needs to be broken.
It is already broken. That's why you're seeing it. Okay?
Yeah, but this is the thing. It's like, should we be going on at other people about this stuff?
If they can't, there's no point talking to somebody who's running on Windows 3.1 when you're running on an iPhone OS 10 or something. It's incompatible perception software. It won't work. and then they don't communicate with you properly, and then it all goes wrong. And if they have got the big vans with the funny people, with the nice padded cell, then you go to their, because their domain is stronger than your domain. So then that's when you shut the fuck up. All right?
Yeah.
You observe, take it in, think about it, don't panic. You're not Jack. You probably are batshit crazy, but you're you're okay.
But in a good way.
In a good way.
In a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you are actually okay, Dan. You're doing the right thing, but don't impose
you know
it on
what,
others.
Brian? In the past, no, this is things have got things are getting better. I mean, I'm doing a lot of stuff to make myself better. Do you know what I mean? It's like
What is that?
I've started like Sorry.
What are those things that you're doing to make yourself better?
Literally, I've changed my diet to like the best I can get it. I'm trying to eat as little shit as possible. I'm not drinking alcohol, not taking.
Okay, what were you drinking? Or what was your diet, and what are you changing it to?
Well, my diet, to be honest with you, my diet was just, if it's nice, I'll eat it.
That's not a bad diet.
If it's there, it's gone.
Yeah, that's okay.
No, but you get what I mean. It's like,
but what effect
like,
did that have, which made you want to change it?
I don't know. It's just out of the blue. I kind of just, I don't know, something switched in my mind, and I wanted to be healthy. I've started doing yoga. I've started practicing celibacy. This is another thing. This is something I wanted to talk to you about. I think I know the reason for the transgender agenda, and it's because of a thing called sissy porn.
Well, are you familiar with a thing called the Baphomet?
Yeah.
That is the transgender thing. It's an attack on the fundamental ability of human beings to reproduce.
Yeah.
And the Baphomet is not the devil. It's a female goat with a whole pile of other things involved. It's the destruction of the divine feminine and the destruction of the divine masculine. If you are going to take out a species, you attack the primary male and the primary feminine, and you destroy them. And that's what's going on.
Trying to do. Really what they're trying to do. You see, what they're doing is because it's like as the heart chakras of the world open, or whatever it is that's going on, as consciousness rises, and we're becoming more in touch with the feminine, the men are becoming more in touch with the feminine aspect and things of this. It's like people don't want war, Miles. People don't.
They never have.
No, this is the thing, and they're attacking men through pornography by using hypnosis. Yeah, they're designing hypnosis videos. Yeah, that it plays on the.
Dan, because of the connection. The worst thing you can do if you got a bad connection is wave your hands around. I'm afraid, because the fingers are high frequency motion, and then the whole thing slows down. It's okay. We're watching you. It's okay. But as a rule, you do need to express yourself. But if you're going to express yourself, just don't wave your hands quite so fast.
Okay. All right. They're basically, it's like that pornography. It's playing on the. It's complicated to explain, but they're using sound frequency, because it's like you know all about the 432 hertz and the universal sound frequency and all that. Well, what they're actually doing is they're programming people. They're flooding the porn sites with hypnosis pornography that has sound frequencies playing through it. So it programs you at different levels of your brain waves. So you got like alpha, beta, theta, and all them.
Okay.
And what it's doing is.
Where have you witnessed that? Where have you observed that?
I've seen it on the porn site a couple of years ago. I came across. This is another reason. It's like why I started like practicing celibacy and that, because it's like they are literally the reason where it's like, all these transgenders, they have not just decided to go queer. That ain't happened. I'm telling you, there's a reason that people are starting to believe that they are women inside men's bodies.
There are reasons for that. I'll explain that. It was explained by certain individuals that when the human essence or the soul goes into the child, the baby, the pineal gland, I think it's the pineal gland, that will start when the baby's developed. It's physically, biologically developed. The pineal gland starts to sing.
It's a woman.
It sends a little signal, say basically, I'm ready now to receive the soul. Now,
Right.
I'm not saying this.
Okay, yeah,
I'm not
sorry,
saying this
yeah.
is what happens. I've said I'm simply explaining that some people are explaining it in this way, due to the chemicals and the biological engineering that they're giving us in food. When the child is ready and that song from the pineal gland starts to sing, it's out of tune. So the energy,
Right, okay.
the energy from a particular individual or being, not necessarily even human at all, is now going into
Can
the
connect
wrong
with
body. And the first signature was when a female would go into a male and a male would go into a female. And then
Right.
that individual will be trapped in a body which was not compatible with the way its soul energies were programmed. Now, I'm just simply
Right.
explaining this as described by some people. Whether this is actually true is another thing. So the individual in the body suddenly finds themselves trapped in something that they're not expecting to see. What's happening is that creatures and beings which are completely incompatible with a human body at all levels are now entering a human being, which is why so many people are tattooing themselves and actually removing and dismembering their legs and bodies and everything, because they feel not are they not even a human, they're not even human. Now, I did interview a guy
Yeah,
at the
same.
David Icke studio about that, and he explained a lot of that. People are
Yeah.
literally cutting their arms off because they don't
Yeah,
want to
I've
have
seen
an
it.
arm.
I've seen it.
And that's
Yeah,
because
but
the
it-
wrong
again-
soul has gone into the wrong body.
You see, I'm not sure about that one. I'd consider it. I mean, I'm open to the possibility that that's what's happening, but I think there's more stuff going on in the 3D reality that is actually influencing this. It's because if that was the case, and maybe it is, but if
Yeah,
that
well,
was the
I
case, don't think that
concur.
they would need.
Exactly.
They don't think. I don't think they'd need as much effort that they're putting in to, put like estrogen mimicking chemicals in tin food and in plastic bottles and all this sort of stuff. And on top of that, the amount of TV programs that are showing you. It's basically it's like instead of having the mother, the father, and the two children, we're having two dads and the children. Like Seinfeld and Frasier and all these things. It's like they're normalising, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, right? But they're normalising homosexuality to the point where it's getting ridiculous. They have drag queens in schools reading books to children about the kids with two daddies and things like this. There wouldn't be such a push in the 3D physical world for the normalization of like transgenderism and all this sort of stuff if it was the soul, because if it is the soul, this would happen automatically.
Well,
But it's not just
that's precisely the point.
automatically. The amount of effort that they are putting into this, and on top of this, the porn sites, this sissy porn, yeah, it
Well, it's interesting,
This is what they wanna do.
Dan.
They
It's
wanna
interesting
whack
that when
out
you
all
mentioned
the men
that,
that will stand
we
up
lost
to
your
top.
signal. We lost your signal when you mentioned
Yeah.
that. Okay, could you repeat that, please?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying that there wouldn't be so much of a push in the 3D world. If it was, like you say, it is the soul before it gets in the body, they wouldn't need to put this much effort in, because people would automatically want to transition into the opposite sex. But we're not seeing that. We're seeing, they're pushing children to start wanting to, like they're trying to make children.
Okay, Dan. I'm going to switch my camera off to you.
Okay.
Because we're losing. I think. Well, we'll see. We'll just keep going. Okay.
Okay.
You're going to have to stop swinging your hands around, because that
Sorry.
increases the data rate, and then we lose your signal.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So continue. Well, this is interesting. Every time we try to describe this point, we're losing what you were saying. We're being interfered with. I've got the damn key on. Continue speaking. Okay, Dan, can you hear me?
I can't hear you, Miles.
Okay, what I'm going to do...
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kill the call, and I'm going to check. I'm going to switch my other laptop off and things just to make sure, reduce the number of signals on my internet here, and call you back in about 3 minutes. Okay?
Yeah, I've just sent you a picture on Skype. Did you see it?
I did.
Yeah, that I've heard you speak about the thing with all the legs. What that picture is from one of the pornography, the hypnosis pornography videos.
Yeah.
It's part of. It's at the beginning of it, right? And in it, in the warning at the beginning, it says that this file contains succubi, which is the plural form of succubus. It contains all sort of demonic attachments and things like this, right?
Yeah.
Now, yeah. And that thing that I've heard you speak about that, yeah, and that's why I've screenshotted it and sent you the picture, right? Because what I think is going on is when you watch that stuff, yeah, you're actually inviting them demons into your mind.
Now I have to say this is standard for broadcasting, and I found this in broadcast transmission systems when I was in the Pirates, and transmitters I got from licensed official broadcasters had this stuff in it. And they also inhabit power stations, electric power stations, which is why electricity supply power stations are in certain grid patterns on the Earth, which is why we are forced to connect our home self-generating things like solar cells and stuff. It's nothing to do with feeding the grid with energy. It's so that those solar cells are used as radiators for this energy, which comes from the power stations. Black etheric life creatures, and that's the whole point about the gates, the interdimensional gates, which certain key elite families have gated open. They are letting dark matter life into our universe, which is a breach of universal law. It is completely illegal. Even everybody has a boss. There's a policeman somewhere governing some law somewhere, no matter who or high up you are, and that I implore you start getting across the Tim Refat stuff.
Yeah, I listened to Tim Refat. Right, I'm literally teaching myself maths at the moment, right? I'm up to trigonometry at the moment. I've done algebra and algebra 2, right? Because I want to learn about this complex number space. Because if we can use it to our advantage, yeah, I will be doing it.
Yeah.
At the moment, I don't know anything. I've literally just learned algebra. Yeah.
Well,
so
essentially,
I'm doing a little bit every day.
The basic concept is, if you want to tune in a radio, you have to use complex number space for radio to work.
Yeah.
Your radio works because of by what they call tuning in a frequency, and that reduces the electrical resistance. I'm using very basic terms of a capacitor resistance and a inductor resistance. And when you tune the old radios, you actually tune this thing called a variable capacitor, and the inductance and the capacitance then neutralize each other out, and then that produces the least resistance at a particular frequency, and bingo, you hear that radio. It's called tuning in. Now, that basic concept is used to bring things into this 3D space.
And this is what Tim Refat does, is it?
It's what a basic. I'm really making it as crude as simple as possible. By using these complex numbers, we're told in physics that if you get a positive sine wave, a positive trough, right, a peak, and then you have an antiphase of that signal, and you have a negative trough, and you add the two waves together, it equals 0.
Right.
Can you understand that?
Not really, but I'll listen.
Right. Well, if you have in other words, if you
I'm
have
getting a basic idea.
yeah, if you have a positive energy peak and a negative energy peak, they get to
Yeah.
they get together, and then the positive energy and the negative energy, we're told, goes to zero.
Yeah.
Can you understand that? You then have flat. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It switches at 90 degrees and it puts that into a different complex number of space.
Yeah.
It doesn't go to zero. Where the hell does the energy go? It doesn't just
I
vanish.
see what you're saying. Instead of it going like this, it
Yeah.
goes like that.
Yeah, switches. No, when they meet, they switch 90 degrees.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And
It's like they turn.
That is the concept of the checkerboard. The black
Right,
and the white and the right angles of the checkerboard.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I see
All
what
right.
you're saying. Yeah.
Now we're
So
talking.
it comes down to they're basically using frequency against us, aren't they?
No, it's not frequency. It's just a concept of of how the mathematics works. Nothing's against you on
Right.
this. You know,
Right,
you
okay.
can either go from Paddington to Bristol, or you can go from Bristol to Paddington. That doesn't mean because you're going on a negative line up and a positive line down. You know, it doesn't make the line evil or bad. It just means you're going from London
Right.
to Bristol, and then when you want to come
Yeah,
back,
yeah, I get you.
that's one could be viewed as male energy, and then coming back from Bristol to London would be viewed as female energy.
Yeah.
That's what in the old. So you have these spirals of energy. You saw the classic spirals, these concentric spirals on the ancient standing stones.
Yeah.
Or have you seen those things, the spirals?
Yeah, I've seen.
Those-
Yeah, I know what you're on about.
Right. Well, you have a Tesla coil uses a clockwise rotation of the coil, and that some people would call that positive, and then it has a negative rotation in exactly the opposite, which is anti-clockwise. Some people call that male or female. It's two opposite opposing things wrapped together. So you have a spiraling energy wrapped together. So you have the positive and negative in that at the same time. Okay, I'm now giving you. I'm now waving my hands around. Cause, can you see that? Are you still there?
No, I can't see anything. I can.
You're just seeing yourself. Yeah, I'm just sorry. I'm just so. So if you have the spiral, this is why I need to get this. I need to get better Skype computers which can handle the reverse vision on this, and it's just this. Everything costs money anyway. Begging for money as usual. But the concept of that is on the ancient standing stones. That's what the triple spiral is. That's what the shamrock is in Ireland. The shamrock is, and the god that what is it? The Holy Ghost, and they talk in threes, right? It's three spirals. When the water energy, the deep water, comes up to the earth, the force field that emanates from that sacred water, which made from the deep in the earth and comes up in holy springs, it has a triple spiral energy field.
Right.
And that is energy traveling clockwise and then anti-clockwise in three specific zones. And that's what those spirals are, and basically things like Newgrange. You look at Newgrange, you've got these three spirals in the rock.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, we've just talked about how you have a positive wave and a negative wave, and you collapse the two together. Hello?
Hello? Yeah,
Hello?
we've got you now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, this is me moving my hands again. You don't get a collapse to zero. You get a scalar energy field, which is outside 3D space-time.
Right.
Okay? Because we only 3D is only plus. No, but the 3D world is a plus quantity up, a plus quantity to the left, sideways, and a plus quantity backwards, or whatever you call it. 3D. So that's what our world is. What's
Tim
called.
Rifat's actually doing.
That's I can't answer. That's a hell of a question. What we're just trying to explain here is complex number
I've
space.
lost you again, Miles.
Yeah, this is too much motion in the picture here. I'll go back to you. So,
Okay.
the whole point of this is what you're looking at in the Mandela effect. You're looking at somebody messing with positive number space. 3D is being interfered with. In terms of plus quantities, I've lost you again. Are you able to follow that? Our so-called 3D.
No, I've lost.
Our so-called 3D.
I've lost you, Miles. It keeps cutting out.
Okay, I think if I switch my camera off, it might work.
Okay.
Oh, fuck, get the right mouse. I will, I think. Okay, you won't see me anymore. It's probably not a bad thing. Okay, so I'm getting your signal okay. That's the important thing.
Okay.
So the whole point about this is that our so-called 3D space, okay, the solid thing that you hit when you put your hand on the table, what you're sitting on, we call that real numbers because it's a real thing, right? You got one table, you got two tables. That's a real number. You physically hit it, and it's there because you're made of positive numbers, force field space, right?
Yeah.
We just call that, just for the sake of argument, we call that real numbers. And that is, you've got X, Y, and Z real numbers, right?
Yeah.
Okay? That's the real world, right?
Yeah.
What the Argon or the Argand diagram is all about is you extend that mathematically into negative space.
Right.
So you have minus X, minus Y,
Okay.
and minus Z. So that immediately gives you three other number spaces
Yeah.
because they're opposite to each one.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I get what you're saying, yeah, but I don't know anything about it.
Well, what we're told in physics is that's merely a mathematical concept. It doesn't actually exist.
But it does.
It does exist.
Yeah.
And if you're able to manipulate the numbers and rotate 3D space round the Argon diagram, you go into a completely different space-time.
So this means that we are actually the ones manipulating reality.
We're the perceivers. Our consciousness, our perception, number crunches the reality we are in. If you therefore are able to somehow interfere with our consciousness, you can get us to make another 3D reality for the intelligence that's manipulating our consciousness.
Yeah.
So, when we're flying around on a donut, which is the energy field of the Earth, that's why it goes in and out. It's a multi-phase donut, right?
Toroidal field.
A toroidal field, exactly. Donuts, right? And then there's a whole pile of complex numbers in that. And what is CERN but a donut?
I don't know anything about CERN. I mean, you hear so many different things about it, and it's hard to find out what's actually going on. I just don't know.
Well, what is happening in CERN is you have two counter-rotating energy fields inside a donut. And what is one energy field doing? It's the exact opposite to the other energy field. They're not finding a God particle, they're creating something in complex number space.
Yeah, but you know there's like 30,000 of these things dotted across the world.
Well, there's all sorts of different sizes and all that sort of stuff. Sizes and everything, as they say. But the point is that is gating and coupling with the Earth's complex number space field.
So what does this mean for us collectively?
It means somebody's fucking around with our consciousness and wanting
Well,
us to create different reality fields. And that's what the aliens and the demonic entities that you've been encountering, you said that, they are then gating our consciousness. They're
oh,
calling us. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. This is the thing. It's like I can't say that I know exactly what's going on, but as far as I'm aware, this problem's reptilian.
Well, unfortunately, reptilians have had a bit of a bad rap on this.
Yeah,
Sorry, that's
I
a bit
mean,
of a that's a little bit of a joke there, Raptor rap.
yeah.
We have the greys, other species. I mean, in on this for quite a while, and this is when we are perceiving it. You're cognizing and perceiving already. You know all of this already. You've observed it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, what are we supposed to be doing though? I mean, other than like trying to work on our health and our perceptions and things like this, how do we get this through to people?
Well, the first thing you do is what you're already doing. You get yourself healthy. You eat the right food. You keep your perception. Just watch, learn, observe, and then
This is
when
what I'm
you
saying. It's like, I don't really know what to be doing. It's like I've just started teaching myself maths
good.
because it's like what else do I do? I mean, I didn't intend on it wasn't maths that I wanted to do. I started learning the trivium, and now I'm on the quadrivium, and I'm trying to learn the seven liberal arts. But it's like I'm taking my time with maths because it's
Well,
like
what on earth are
it's,
those things that you just mentioned?
the trivium and the quadrivium are the seven liberal arts. It's grammar, logic, and rhetoric, and the quadrivium is number. What is it? Hang on. The quadrivium is number, geometry, music, and cosmology. Because this is what I'm saying. If we know maths and geometry, we can actually start affecting reality, like you mentioned. Tim Refat is.
Exactly. And what do
Yeah.
computers do?
I don't know. I'm like a retard, Miles. I can switch it on and off and use
But
YouTube.
there's maybe a reason why that's happening. Have you played video games?
When I was a kid, yeah.
What kind of games did you play on the computer or the gaming machine?
I played loads. I played Ridge Racer, Rage Racer, Mortal Kombat, Shinobi, Alex the Kid, Sonic the Hedgehog.
And what did you notice?
remember.
Did you notice something about that when you were doing that? When you were playing the game, did the game get better or easier for you somehow?
I don't know. Well, things get easier the more you do them, don't they?
No, but how did they get easier?
I don't know. You become more adept, I suppose. It's like maths. It's like I'm not a fan of maths, but I've noticed it's like it took me like 3 weeks just to learn the easiest bit of algebra. But now I look at it and think, bloody hell, that's well easy. I don't know how I've got better. I just and don't give me any algebra things. I'm still learning, but you just I don't know. You just get better.
I mean,
you?
are you dyslexic?
No, I'm not dyslexic. I might be. I don't know. I might be a little bit slow or something, but I don't know. No, I'm not dyslexic. Not as far as I know.
No, it's just it's interesting that there's certain observer effects happen when you're playing video games. That's all.
Okay, what happens?
Well, there's some companies which I don't want to mention. I've probably over mentioned their names already.
It's not Dreamcast, is it?
Well, Dreamcast is actually if in broadcasting. Some of the names of the equipment. One is Dreamcast. One is Dreamcatcher.
Dreamscape, is that one?
All that. I mean, there's a lot,
Something.
and there's this is in the broadcasting field is where the whole consciousness thing's happening. What do you think Premier League football's all about? What do you think?
I see
all
what
that
you're
you are
saying.
gating the consciousness and focus of millions of people
Yeah.
watching the football. You're being farmed.
Well, I don't watch it. I
Yeah.
try and lay off the TV and all that
Yeah.
crap as much as possible.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, the very act
see what you mean.
of observing, the football, Premier League football, the Saturday night games on certain TV channels, is all about gating your consciousness. They're opening up people's hearts. They're pouring their heart out. That energy of their heart, their human
Yeah.
energy, is literally being farmed by these creatures.
Yeah, it's what's power in the Matrix.
Yes, the
Yeah.
checkerboard.
Yeah.
And all right.
But you see, I see the checkerboard as something a little bit different, because we are. I kind of see the checkerboard as you're like you know you want to call it the good side and the bad side, or the light and the dark, or whatever. But we are actually like pieces on a chessboard. We are like marionettes, because these entities can, in one way of saying it, step into us and start controlling us.
Yeah, well, that's called wetware. That's what.
Yeah.
That's what. That's what possession is all about.
Yeah, this is ultimately what they want. They want, the few humans that will be left to be.
Well, they don't want to get rid of us
controlled.
because we're useful. We do that.
Yeah,
but
we're food for them. Yeah, they, without us, they die.
yes,
but
well, that should tell you something. Without us, so we exclude them from us, so they can't exist with us, and then they can't exist.
But I've noticed, so the reason I say about this, like I have a different view on the chessboard, is because I've noticed how these demonic forces, or whatever they are, speak through people. But also at the same time, when I've had this Pleiadian stuff happen, they speak through people. It's like I'd sit there and I'd say to the universe, manifest me a Pleiadian. I want to see one. Yeah, and obviously it don't happen because my head would probably explode or whatever. I don't know.
Well, that's what Close Encounters of 6 is. Stephen Greer's been teaching people that stuff. People look up at the sky and they manifest this stuff. They bring it in.
Yeah.
And then they say, oh, let the alien into your being, into your.
Yeah. See, I'm very, very, like, I don't want to say nervous, but I'm a little bit more like cognizant about what's going on. It's like, the thing is, right, it's so easy to invite these things in and you don't even realise it. I learnt this through watching stupid hypnosis pornography. Do you know what I mean? It's like I didn't know anything about it. This was like a couple of years ago. I clicked on this shit, and then before I knew it, I had fucking demonic attachments and that.
How did you know? How did you know you had a demonic attachment? How did you perceive that?
My life went downhill so quickly. Like it's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just everything that can fucking go wrong goes wrong. Yeah, because it's giving them energy. It's the more they can. It's like when one of these things get you. Yeah, it's like they just want carnage. They want chaos. They want every single relationship that you have to have some form of problem. Like anything that they can do to fuck you up, they do. And it's just, and this is part of the reason I wanted to talk to you about this pornography, and that's why I just sent you that picture, because what's going on is the internet, the porn sites are being, not that I watch this shit anymore, but the porn sites are being flooded with this stuff, and what they're actually doing is when you watch it, you align yourself with this, and it's sex magic as well, because what they're doing is you build up all this sexual energy, you get horny, you build up all this sexual energy, and that sexual energy is now becoming linked with whatever you're aligned with. Yeah. Now, because you've aligned yourself with this file that has demonic attachments in it,
it gives your permissions away. You're giving your permissions away. So what you've got to do, you've got to deny those permissions.
Exactly. Yeah, but people don't know this.
Yeah, well, they need to know.
Yeah, they need to know, and this is why I'm talking about that pornography, that hypnosis pornography, because it's part of the reason. Yeah, it's a major part of the reason for the transgender agenda, because not only are they aligning themselves with this stuff that's designed to feminize men, emasculate men, and all this sort of stuff, it's giving them demonic attachments that then basically, once a demonic attachment is attached to this person who is resonating at the frequency of being willing to transition into a woman, before you know what happens, they've cut their dick off. There's a transgender clinic, like Chop Your Dick Off clinic, 30 miles down every road or something like that. This agenda is, and the reason they're doing it, yeah, is because they want to wipe everyone out, and the few people they want left, they're going to be slaves. We're all slaves. But what I'm saying is, this is I don't think it's just because of the soul. I think this is because they're putting so much effort into making this manifest in reality. They're putting estrogen mimicking chemicals in tin food and bottled water. They are flooding the porn sites with hypnosis pornography designed to turn men into women. You look at the movie Fight Club. I got a couple of videos on my YouTube channel saying about how Fight Club is actually the NLP. Yeah, it's like I've been learning a little bit of NLP and
for those who don't know what that is, could you describe what you're talking about? NLP.
NLP is neuro linguistic programming. It's basically like neuro is the brain, linguistic is using language. Because the thing is, it's like you can say the same thing to a person in 10 different ways, but they will get a different feeling, a different perception, a different idea, a different, whatever, in each different way that you say it. Yeah, so it's like the power of language is incredible. Yeah, and it's like, I'll give you an example. This is something
It depends how you spell it. That's what
yeah,
language
exactly.
is, spelling.
Spelling, spelling, and this is why we write in cursive, because we're cursing and things like this. But this is the power of language. But what NLP does, it's like NLP is used in MK Ultra, but they use it. They're like fucking bang on. I'm a complete amateur. They know what they're doing. But something I do myself is I'll sit there. If you hear the same song, over and over and over and over again, 100 times a day, when that song is not playing, all you will hear is that song. Yeah, so the more you repeat something, the more it starts playing in the back of your mind, the more that becomes part of your program. So what I do is I'll sit there and I'll meditate for I'll smoke a joint or something, because I like a bit of weed and I ain't ashamed to admit it, right? I'll smoke a little tiny bit of weed and I'll sit there on the floor with my legs crossed for about an hour and I'll sit there and I'll repeat continual positive forward thought, continual positive forward thought, continual positive forward thought, and I'll do this for an hour or 2 hours or something like that. And I've got other chants and mantras that I do, and the point of this is when you do this, and the more you repeat it, the more that becomes an automatic program. So when I'm not doing it, what's going round in my head is that song, continual positive forward thought. You see, and it's like I'll do loads of these. It's like I'll sit there and I'll repeat the phrase focused attention, focused attention, focused attention. So that now becomes a voice in my head. So when I'm sitting there learning maths or whatever I'm trying to do today, it's going round in my head and it makes it easier for me to focus. And if I'm not doing that, I've also got the program going round in my head saying continual positive forward thought. So rather than sitting there thinking negative things all the time, one of my programs has now become continual positive forward thought. You see, and what NLP does is it's basically that. It's programming your thoughts with language. But with the Fight Club, you look at the movie Fight Club, the amount of programming, the NLP, I can't even break it down. I haven't learned enough of this to start explaining it in a way that people will, see. It's like if I explain it now, I still get people go to me, "Oh, you're on your own fucking planet." It's like, no, I'm not on my own planet. I'm just not. Maybe I'm not explaining this well enough for you to understand what I'm saying.
Are you familiar with things like the Montauk Project? You heard of that?
It rings a bell, yeah. I mean, there's all I just see it as MK Ultra personally. It's all the same sort of stuff. You got all these different projects and Project Play, Paperclip, and all this sort of stuff. And it's like I just see it as it's them fuckers trying to ruin us. You know what I mean? They're trying to program us.
It's very interesting. I mean, I'm just uploading some readings from a dear friend of mine called Jane Shattuck, and her mother was visited by very enlightened beings about way back in the 70s. And the agenda that you are witnessing now, she was warned about way back in the 70s.
Mm-hmm. And, I've heard Ike speak about this as well.
And I'm just uploading this right now. Literally, I think it's probably over by now. But this is something in the 1970s that they were warned about because of beings who meant to come from a second Earth. They're virtually all infertile. They can't have children, which is why they keep taking our children. I think there's something like 400,000 children. Some huge.
Yeah, it's a terrible number. The thing that do you know what? Right, it's like trying to get my head around this. I say this to people. It's like I say to them, social services is not really there to help people. If we get down to the root of it, they're there to steal children. Yeah, and
Yeah.
people think it's
Well,
crazy, but it's
that's
like
part
the
of the whole
amount.
Project Paperclip thing.
Yeah.
America got the rocket scientists and most of their industry taken over by these individuals. We don't want to
Mm,
blame German people on this. This is something much deeper and wider than that. And we got the genetics law. And that's why we have a National Health Service. Have you heard
mm.
of the heel prick test?
No.
Basically, once a baby's born, they do a heel prick test and they get the DNA of the mother and the child, and that goes on your database.
Right.
So they track your genetic code through your mother, and they
This
have
is
that,
an.
and your medical records have got special codes on that, and then they will track you.
Mm, yeah. But this is the thing. It's like I'm pretty sure that I am being tracked. Because I mean, it's like the fucking helicopter land on the house and things
Well,
like this. And it's like go out in the street,
try
you
to
get
out
people.
observe the helicopter, because helicopters are very expensive things to fly.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I know, and
is it
this ain't a
really
case
a
of
helicopter?
well, yeah.
Just
Well,
check.
yeah,
Are
I get what you
you?
mean.
Is it something
I don't
else?
know. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But it's like I mean, it's not. I've noticed over the past say year, it's got a little bit less, but it still happens. It's like I sit here. Yeah, this was the first time that it's happened in probably like 3 months or something like that. Yeah,
One
like
of the
I've had.
things that they can see on radar is your higher perceptive cognitive ability. That turns up on radar. They can track that. They can
Yeah,
see it actually happening. Have you
yeah.
got any of these so-called orgone device things?
No, but I tell you something, right?
Don't call an orgonite,
No, I bought. Why not? What's wrong
because
with
it's a
that?
trade name, and most of the so-called
Oh
orgonite
right,
things are just all are useful for are paperweights.
all right, okay. I bought one of these, the orgone pyramids, and in the house I was living at in Doncaster. Yeah, there were the people in there. They were just. I'll go into this at another time, right? Because this is quite a long story, but they hated the fact that I had it. And I went round the pub and I'm sitting there having a pint and I was on my own and I had it in my pocket. Yeah, because around this time, yeah, the reason I bought it is because I realised that this is good energy and they hate it. Yeah, but around that time I went in the pub and I'm sitting there and I had it in my pocket. Yeah. When I left the pub, yeah, it weren't there. So I lost it. I bought another one a couple of I don't know, about what is it now? Say 6 weeks ago or something like that, and gave it to someone else. Yeah, but I haven't got one myself. But the one I did have, it somehow I don't. This sounds crazy, but it's like I feel like they got it off me somehow because it's like I bought it for the purpose of fucking with them. Right, because they were fucking with me. Do you know what I mean? And I
There
thought, you
are
know what, you're
uses
not going to like this.
of the crystal technologies which can allow that to happen. And again, it uses a counter-rotating Tesla coil, which pumps a pulsed scalar energy field into the crystal, and then with your intention coupled with that can make sure it's not that they don't mess with us.
When you say that these helicopters can see your higher cognitive functions, what do you mean?
It's just on the radar. The radar's triggered for that, and if you have any of that orgone stuff, they'll see that happen as well. Because it's all those orgone things is basically a lot of random conductive material in a resin of some kind, which provides a capacitance field. So that produces a random scattering monopole scattering field. If you
Right.
then couple that with a Tesla coil, as we do with the orgone bubble, you then charging that up to a much bigger energy field, and then you couple your intention with that. That will really start producing an intentional field protecting you from any hostile activity.
Yeah, but the thing is, we do this naturally. This is the point of
Yes.
sexual energy. Yeah, this is why we're supposed to build up our sexual energy, because the sexual energy is basically that orgone energy. Yeah, but what
Well,
we're
yeah,
doing is,
that's what orgone energy is. That's Wilhelm
yeah,
Reich. Are you familiar with Wilhelm Reich?
Wilhelm. I've started looking into it because I've started using. What I do is I smoke a little bit of weed and I listen to 432 hertz music, and I'll sit there for like 5 6 hours just listening. I'll smoke
Okay, well, I've got the
literally a
book
quarter
here. I'm
of a
going to
joint.
show the book on camera, and you won't
Okay.
see that, but it's there. It's Fury on Earth, a biography of Wilhelm Reich, a great man who died
Yeah.
in jail, and that's the look he had when they arrested him, and
Right.
because they didn't like us doing this stuff,
No.
and
But they're gonna have to get used to it.
yeah, so that's the guy there. He's
I can't. I
the
can't see it,
origins.
Miles.
I
Nothing's
know, I
come up
know,
me.
I know. I'm showing it on camera for the recording.
Oh right. Okay. I see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm not that familiar with him, but he is the frequency guy, isn't he?
He discovered that there was a living energy field, and he started working with that. Now,
Yeah.
the important thing is that at that time, when Wilhelm Reich was operating and dealing with this energy field, that was before millimeter waves were being transmitted from radar and microwave energies. So, if people get the old Wilhelm Reich technology from those old books, it is not safe to use it. It's a technology. It's not safe to use it in today's massively overcharged microwave energy fields of cell phones and 5G. You have to do different things to it and earth it differently. So it's very important people understand this is a technology. It's not some kind of pretty, nice looking paperweight. Okay, and you do
Yeah.
need to discharge your orgone device or pyramid, but occasionally just let it discharge in the rain outside, so that you discharge any of the toxic things that you've been protecting yourself against. As with crystals,
Yeah. It's like basically washing it.
you've got to wash it. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I get what you mean. Yeah. But
you've got to
as
use
for
this
the,
stuff intelligently. Well,
yeah.
I think we've this is an introduction.
Yeah.
I
You want to
might,
leave it here for now?
yeah. I mean, I might have to
Yeah.
clock this up onto a different basis altogether, but I think it will. I mean, your initial comment, I don't know if it was recorded, that you're not. It's the TI, the target individual is
Yeah,
a
no, I
trick.
prefer to think of myself as an empowered individual because
Yes,
when you
well,
think if you consider yourself to be targeted, you're targeted. If you consider yourself
it's
to
a
be a
trick.
targeted survivor, you're saying they've hurt you. But if you say you're empowered, they can go fuck themselves.
Yes, you were entirely correct.
Do you get what I mean?
You've absolutely seen
know.
through the trick. The trick is, oh, I'm a TI, I'm a target.
This is what I mean. We've
Yeah.
got to work on our perceptions of things.
Yes.
I'm not an expert on any of this, but it's like
You're
you know.
well ahead
At
of the
first, I
game.
was a target. At first, I thought I was a targeted individual, and now I consider myself their boss. They, they bow to me. They bow to you. They bow to all of us. Yeah, they just think they run us. That's the trouble. It's because people are not aware that, we are the ones with the power. We're all scared of them. I mean, look at the celebrities. All the celebrities have sold their soul. Yeah,
Exactly.
they've sold out. Yeah, when they shouldn't have sold out because they're the ones with all the power.
Well, that is why Tim Refat doesn't like his A-listers,
No,
because they've
well,
done that.
yeah, I know. Yeah, and it is literally. Well, I can't say that I know this, but as far as I'm concerned, they've all sold out.
Yeah, they have.
And for what? For what? Because all that's happened is they've been turned into slaves. They've been MK Ultra'd. I know they've in a sense sold out humanity, but I still wouldn't wish on them what must have happened to them.
Well, what will happen to them, that's what Mr. Refat's created in Hellspace. He's created Hellspace for them. He actually defeated Lucifer.
Yeah.
Lucifer lost a bet, and Lucifer's the god which does the bad things to the bad ones.
Yeah.
And that's what Hellspace is. And Hellspace is being created for our great elite who feel that they are somehow insulated from all this. And this
I
is
think
having a
they're
very
mad,
major
personally.
effect.
I think these elites. I mean,
It's abuse of
maybe they know.
position. It's
Yeah,
abuse
maybe
of
they know
power.
something that I don't. But personally, I think they're on their own planet. Because if they think they're going to get away with what's going on, they must be mad. They
Well,
must
they've got
be
away
mad.
with it for a very long time. And the idea is through this kind of program and what you're saying, and that's what the Basis Project's about. It's an awareness thing. Don't believe it. take it on board. Do not believe this stuff. Just understand it intelligently. Well, we got another 10 minutes left. I'm going to do a thing called Shut Up, which people will probably be very delighted about. And you got 10 minutes. Say what you want to say and get it if you want.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what to say. That's what I'm saying. I don't know where to start.
Well, tell us about the Pleiadians then.
Well, the Pleiadians.
You mentioned the reptilians.
That is, it's like the same way that well, I assume the reptilians that talk through people. The Pleiadians did the same thing. It's like I don't want to say I was possessed, because that's not what happened. Yeah, but it's like reality around me became very, very malleable, and it's like I wasn't controlling it. It's like they speak to me through things and through people. Yeah, and if anyone else is in the room, they wouldn't even notice, because it's like they're communicating directly with me. And I honestly don't know how to explain it.
Well, I call it fluidic space.
Just a good way, yeah.
Starts getting fluidic,
yeah,
as opposed to rock solid.
Yeah, and just it's like it becomes this is a thing with this Pleiadian contact. This, if it is Pleiadian, it's a constant in the time that they're talking to me. It's a constant synchronicity. Every single thing in reality is lined up perfectly to communicate, and I know that still doesn't make sense, but that is what's happening.
Don't try to make sense if it doesn't make sense. Just observe it, understand.
Yeah, but I mean, trying to explain it to people that it's like I'm sitting here saying I've got contact with aliens.
Yeah, but why did you decide it was not an alien abduction, and everybody else and all the other people would have said, "Oh, I'm being abducted by the Pleiadians." Why did you see through that?
Because I wasn't taken anywhere. I was in full waking consciousness, and it just, I don't know. It's just, I can't. It's hard to describe. It is the best way I can say it is, it's just every single. It is like, take one synchronicity where something lines up. Yeah, it's like I'm saying, I'll say the word like Russia. Or whatever, yeah, or like America or whatever, anything, yeah, and then at the same time someone will say that word on the radio, yeah. That's one synchronicity, yeah, that lines up. But what this is, it's a million all in a line. It's like the whole of reality itself becomes just one bit. It's just a million synchronicities, one after the other. It's like it doesn't matter what you do, it's talking to you. It's like reality is interacting with me. You get what I mean?
But that's called reality management. You are now accessing the AI, which controls the I've got to be careful what I said there. The archons, archonic matrix. There's a proper phrase for that. If you want to learn about a lot of this, you've got to go across to Gridkeeper and Tim Refat. They're dumping a lot of information out now, and the idea is to save it, actually keep it personal copies, and print it out even.
Yeah. I mean, I listened to a couple of things by Tim Refat, and he was talking about complex number space, and like I didn't really get much of what he was saying, because it's like I don't know anything about complex numbers, so it's like I've just just
it's a learning experience.
Yeah, but are you saying that I'm accessing the artificial intelligence grid?
Well, the AI is the thing which gets you to engage in what I call reality management.
Right.
So if you're now able to overcome the aspects of the effects of the AI, then you then have more control of it. So you're actually creating that coincidence situation yourself.
But this is a thing, talking about creating reality. I've actually sat there and manifested things. I was sitting outside a train station, and I'm sitting there talking to the universe, like saying I want to see a bloke walk past wearing a green t-shirt, within about a minute he walks past, and then I start doing other things. I'm saying I want to see a plane fly over, and then just above the building a plane flies over. I want to see a blue motorbike comes by. I want to see and this is when I started getting a little bit more complicated, like specific. I'm saying I want to see a woman in a white dress with red love hearts on. In about 5-6 minutes she walks by. Now I'm sitting there thinking, am I creating this, or what? Now, this is what I'm saying. I seem to be. I don't do it all the time, but when I've sat there and I've had 5 or 6 things like this that I literally speak into existence appear, it makes me think. It's like, am I like fucking God? I don't mean it like that, but it's like I've had these things happen, and it's not just this, right? I know we've only got a few minutes left.
That we are the manifestors. We're 12
Yeah, I know,
dimensional
but
beings.
it's still, even knowing this, it's still hard to accept.
Well, learn just like you did with the basic elements of mathematics in those equations. Learn, rest, and proceed. But
Yeah.
if somebody doesn't want to hear, you may be a brain surgeon, you may be a very good brain surgeon, and you may be the best one of the brain surgeons. But when you just talk to normal people, they may not want to know that they're your brain surgeon stuff.
Yeah.
So sometimes you've got to learn to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Be normal.
Yeah, no,
Don't
you're
do
right,
what
I
I
know.
do what I say.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you. Should we leave it here then?
Yeah, I mean, this is a greatly encouraging thing for other people, and it's very brave of you to be a witness, to say this is the whole point. I'll have to do a little bit of editing on this because your full name's on the Skype at the top.
That's all right, it don't matter.
Is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
It's a little
I
bit
mean,
of a giveaway.
I'd rather, if you can blank out my Skype address, because I don't want loads of people. Do you get what I mean?
Well, on the screen, you got your name,
Yeah.
but underneath it, I don't know what to. I just can't. Maybe I'll just put the Basis logo over the top of the screen.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Something like that.
Okie doke.
Well, I'll try and get this run off tomorrow, and quickly sort of top and tail it.
Okay.
But this is very important. Your observations are very important, and you're doing the right thing. But when you go to the doctor, you don't say that you're seeing
Don't go
aliens.
to the doctor anymore.
Don't go to the doctor.
Don't
You don't
go
say
to the
that you're
doctor. Don't
telepathic.
use mobile phone. No, I don't. No, none of it.
You know.
I'm trying to distance myself from this system as much as possible.
Well, and with ordinary folk, if they start getting alarmed, just shut the
Slap
fuck up.
them.
No, it's not their fault.
Joking.
It's not their fault.
I know it's not. I know.
It's
I know.
not their
I'm only
fault.
joking.
Yeah, no, but it's not their fault, and respect them. But
Yeah.
I mean,
I know. I'm starting to see that it's easier just to, like you say, shut the fuck up and just have a normal conversation. If they want to sit there and talk about EastEnders, just sit and nod.
no, that's you're just
Yeah.
going. Now you're being silly.
Yeah, I know.
But now, Jesus
I know.
God, don't even. God, I'm going to
know.
need some therapy now already.
It's
Just-
agony, isn't it?
yeah,
To sit there and watch it.
and I
You
work
walk
for the
in rooms,
Broken
I
Biscuit Company.
can't even be in the room with it on.
Yeah,
I can't even
it's
be in it. It's
dreadful.
like, I want to punch people when they sit there and watch this shit, or they're sitting there watching the X Factor and things like this. I'm like, are you aware that
No, they're
half a
not
million
aware,
children
and
has
they
just gone missing? It's
They
like,
don't deserve to be punctured. But
no, I know they don't. I'm only joking.
what did the BBC tell you in the program today, and in today's program, and tomorrow's program? Will be, and all they do is say program.
Yeah,
And that's
This
what they've
is the
been
thing.
doing.
This is why people need to look into neuro-linguistic programming, because we can actually program ourselves, and we should be programming ourselves. Because it's like, if you sit there hearing like Poxy, I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world, you sit there hearing that on repeat. When that's turned off, that's all you're hearing in your mind, for the next 10 hours. It might get to the point where you can focus on what you're doing and you don't hear that, but it's still playing, it's still looping.
Well, there
so what
is
you
a-
want to do is create your own loops.
There is a
Continual
problem there that
positive forward thought.
we do have the Zion parasite. All Western European, no matter whether you are white or whatever race you are, if you are in the matrix of the so-called first world, we have a thing called the Zion parasite. And
I don't know what that is.
Well, it's a thing which gives that little voice in your head. and it's the one that's continually niggling and maybe undermining your confidence about things.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And that is, we in this reality field, it's very difficult for us to get rid of that thing.
You see, this is something else, right? One other thing I'll just say quickly, right? It's like there's a book called Initiation into Hermetics by I think it's Franz Barden, right? Or Braden. I'm sorry, I can't remember, but one of them, Initiation into Hermetics, and it says that for the majority of the population, they find it very hard to sit there and not hear a thought. Now, I thought this might have been one of the reasons that they showed some sort of interest in me, like this targeting and all this bollocks, right? Is because I can actually sit there and switch that voice off, and I'm what you might call an airhead, like a fucking bimbo. I can sit there and 100% not hear a single sound. It's like I'm a fucking Zen master or something.
Well,
I'm not, obviously, but I can sit there. And I can sit there and I can sit there and stare at a wall for an hour and not have a single thought or not see a single picture or video in my head, yeah, unless I choose to. Yeah. That, now according to this initiation into hermetics, that actually makes you, when you get to that level, you are capable of magic. Now, couple that with the fact that I've actually manifested, so I say I've manifested it, sat there and said I want to see this, like a bloke in a green shirt, and then he walks around the corner, a woman in a white dress with love hearts, and then a couple of minutes later, 5 minutes later, she comes around the corner. Yeah, so I just thought I'd mention it because I can actually sit there, that voice, yeah, it's like I can switch it off completely, and it is like I am an airhead, but not because I'm stupid, but because, well, I don't know. It's just like I can sit in peace and quiet and just be.
What are those other books that you were referring to? Was it?
There is the Trivium. Give me 1 second. The Trivium, it's just, I'm not saying it's a bad book. It's a good book, but it's just grammar, logic, rhetoric. That's all it is, right? It's there's good stuff in there. Like
what subject would that be found under in a library or if you wanted to buy them? What basic subject is it?
I don't know, to be honest, but if you search...
What does it must say somewhere in the bottom of the book?
Literally all it is the Trivium, the liberal arts of logic, grammar and rhetoric, understanding the nature and function of language.
But is it under psychology or something like that? For people who wanted to buy it?
Be under grammar.
Oh, it's...
Under grammar. That's what it would come under, I think. And what this is the thing is the Trivium is if you hear Mark, I came to this through Mark Passio, and he was basically saying get to know your language and all this sort of stuff.
Who's Mark Passio?
Mark Passio is an ex-Satanist, and he basically does a thing. He has a website and a YouTube show called What on Earth is Happening, and he's basically explaining occult material, and anything to do with the occult. He's explaining it, and someone else who mentions this Trivium and the Quadrivium. This Quadrivium is Santo Bonacci. If you ever listen to him, it's Santos Bonacci, I think. And then them two, they mention it. I came to this through Mark Passio, and I heard him speak about the Trivium, and I heard Santo Bonacci speak about the Quadrivium. But together, they make up the 7 liberal arts, which are grammar, logic, and rhetoric. This is designed to teach people how to think. Like literally how to think.
Yeah.
And this
being 3 and quad being 4, so that adds to 7.
Yeah, and this is basically book 2 of the 7 liberal arts, and the Quadrivium, number, geometry, music, and cosmology. And if you look at you're better off, rather than me talking about this, you're better off listening to that Santo Bonacci.
See that those words are illustrating complex number space in terms of complex waves and energy fields.
Right.
That's how that's the manifestation of complex number space in what we would see as 3D.
Right. Okay.
Because everything is all the same in everywhere. It's
Yeah.
just that, and the same with mathematics. That's why, for instance, the City of London uses
Hmm.
terms like overheating in the economy because they're using electrical science equations on shoving a lot of money into a function, which if you put too much there, it overheats. And they're
Right.
using electrical engineering phrases but in the economy because they're using the mathematics of electrical science to run the country,
So
the
does this?
economy.
Do you mean that the language is affecting 3D reality?
The language affects manifestation 3D reality, but it means that the equations of an electrical circuit, the
Right.
physics of that, the analogy of that in the economy and how they run money supply, because a money supply is the same as the electrons going down to a wire.
Right.
And then it has the
What?
same characteristics if you put too much money into a particular circuit or economy, which is the same as a circuit. You know, people buy, spend, buy, spend, buy, sell, spend, whatever.
Hmm.
That has a similar mathematical relationship as an electrical signal in a circuit.
Mm.
Like a cooker, you turn on too much of the electrons, and you get a hot cooker.
Mm.
So that means your
Yeah.
economy's overheating.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
What?
See where these phrases come, and
I see.
they're
I get what you
mixing
mean. Yeah.
phrases from an electrical issue into the economy. How the hell does that work?
Well,
Well, just, it's
yeah.
because the equations, the mathematics is similar in different circumstances. It's the same mathematic.
What do you think about Bitcoin?
Well, Bitcoin, those cryptocurrencies are again, they're all in the virtual world of computers, and computers are in a different time space domain. That's
Mm.
where your consciousness is accessing into a completely different time space domain, into a different reality. Computers are a trick, they're a consciousness trick.
Mm.
Your consciousness is going into that. The physical, electrical aspects of the signal, the square wave signal, has got meaning. It's got your consciousness in there. It's got your whole. You were playing the
Mm.
game. You're playing a game with your consciousness in
Yeah.
a whole lot of numbers which are flying around inside a
This is the part of technology. It's
yeah.
take knowledge.
No, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I think that's over. It
Okay.
tech is technical. It's not take. Anyway,
Yeah,
the
but
point is that the point
yeah.
is that the aspects of the
Okay.
computer,
Yeah.
the physical nuts and bolts of those transistors, are
Mm.
switching energy fields with a cognitive component in there,
Mm.
and that's going through the physics of the crystal matrix of the silicon techno.
What I'm saying though, Miles, is do you think that like what Bitcoin's not the answer? Bitcoin's not the answer for humanity, for the future of humanity, is it? I mean, it's like what I'm saying is they seem to be trying to push for a cashless society
Yeah,
with
the
the
reason
intent
why they're
of getting
doing the
everybody
reason
on
why they're
Bitcoin.
doing that
But
the
it's not
reason
the answer.
but the reason why they're doing that is they want to track your energy when you exchange money.
Yeah,
Right now, the thing about the modern £10 note is
yeah.
I'm going to show this on camera so that okay the where are we? This is the modern £10 note, and this acts just like a credit card. It's an esoteric device which tracks anybody and everything that spends it. So this cash money, which they've created, has a energy field on it which tracks just like a credit card. Right. So I'm showing
Hmm.
holding that up to camera. You can't see that, but
Hmm.
so they've got cash now behaving in exactly the same way as credit cards behave. And that was an energy field tracker as to where your energy field, in terms of spending that money has got an esoteric tracker by the
I see. I
Rothschilds.
get
So
what you mean.
the energy exchange of the money exchange
Is
has
logged.
got a tracker. Now the thing about it is that If you look through, again, that's an energy field. You can transfer that and rotate or change that energy field, which means Bitcoin, all the one coins, and all the virtual currencies are energy fields of energy exchange in the computer world. And therefore, we have the whole AI aspect of the computer world, and then a new reality they want us to create of the virtual matrix. And then you're talking the Mandela effect and how that can be projected and cognized. And so dealing with a much more complicated problem here.
You said it was interesting when I said about like the airhead thing. Why is that interesting to you?
It's interesting because as a Western European being in the so-called checkerboard of the European environment, the so-called, when I mean European, the United States is only relatively new. It's only a couple of hundred years old, but so the
Occidental.
it's we have been all contaminated. 95% of souls from our energy field are dark matter contaminated with these life forms, because the energy field, the gates in Europe on the energy nodes of where the Earth's energy field is, the ley line system, where we have churches, where we have castles, the Rothschilds and the 13 families have opened these gateways to allow dark matter life into this domain to toxify, kill, and wipe us out. They've done it with 4 other domains, and they're being stopped on this one. And by cognizing and creating a positive energy field with our wonder and excitement of being human, we can simply remove that whole existence by our energy field. Consciousness.
So do you think that like that negative energy, that dark matter, has something to do with the voice in people's heads?
Yeah, it's the Zion parasite. We have got the Zion parasite, all of us, and we can remove it, and then it'll come back. There are others who can permanently remove the Zion parasite. It sucks us. It's the thing which sits on our left shoulder. The little devil, so-called, and that's where death is, so-called death. You know, the little demons in each shoulder thing. That sort of. All of these things have got symbols, but we are parasited very heavily because these creatures have grossly violated universal law, and we have to wake up, clean the place up, proceed, and embrace the divine feminine, balance everything up, and make everything nice.
Yeah.
But that I think that's enough for now.
Yeah, that'll do. Cheers, Miles.
Well, that's it's the end of Basis 54 with Dan, and I'll try and get that edited, and we'll take it from there. Well done.
Okay, cheers, mate. Thank you for
You're
having
in
me.
Control. You are in control. You are empowered.
So are you, my friend.
You are not
good.
a victim. You are
Empowered.
an empowered individual. That's fantastic. Thank you.
Okay.
All
cheers,
the best.
mate.
Good night.
I'll see you later. You
Cheerio.
take it easy.
Okay, goodbye.